Okay, so here are the notes on percentiles and also cumulative frequency graphs. So a percentile is the score which a certain percentage of the data lies at or below. So in class we talked about the size of a baby. So if a baby is born and you're told that it is 95th percentile, that means 95% of other babies are less than your baby. So let's say it's for weight, 95th percentile for weight, that means 95% of other babies are below your baby, at or below. So if you look at this, it says at or below. So the 85th percentile, if you got on a test and you're told you were 85th percentile on a test score, so 85% of the other students had either the same or less than you did. Okay, if your test score is in the 95th percentile, then you're in the top 5% of the class. 95% or less have scored the same or less than you. All right, so we actually did the same one in class today, so we're just going to go ahead and go through this to remind you how to do it. So we're going to add another column to our table, and this is going to be the cumulative, I didn't give myself much room there, frequency, cumulative frequency. And I'm going to go ahead and try and neaten this up a little bit. Oh, actually, I'm going to need to put numbers along here, so I'm going to make this much shorter. Okay, so I'm just going to put these numbers, I'm going to make them small, put them in here. All right, so cumulative frequency is how many students have scored less than 20? Well, 2. How many students altogether have scored less than 30? Well, that would be these 5 and these 2. So I'm going to add them together and get 7. How many students, for the next one, how many students have scored less than 40? Okay, all of these 7 plus these 7 have scored less than 40. So 7 plus 7 is 14. So I fill in this table by taking the current cumulative amount and adding the next frequency. That's how I get. I'm going to add that. 2 plus 5 is 7. 7 plus 7 is 14. Okay, so 7 plus 7 is 14. 14 plus 21. Oops, where's my answer key so I don't have to think so hard? Here it is. 14 plus 21 is 35. 35 plus 36 is 71. 71 plus 40 is 111. 111 plus 27 is 138. 138 plus 9 is 147. And then 147 plus 3 is 150. So from class, this was a test score. So this was a score on a test. This is the number of students. And here's our cumulative frequency is also number of students. So when we graph it, we're going to put our test scores here on the x-axis. So now we're going to graph this. So this is going to be our test scores. So notice our test scores go from 10 to 100. So I'm going to do 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. Phew, it fits. Okay, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. Okay, those are our x, that's our x-axis. And then our number of students is going to go along here. Let's see, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 110, 20, 30, 40, 50. Okay, so I'm going to have to abbreviate that. 150 is the top line, so we're going to end up there. So I'm just going to label every other one of these, 20, 40, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 120, 140. All right, so now we're going to graph our cumulative frequency. So the weird part is you got to start with this number. Nobody scored less than 10. So our first score, 10, nobody scored less than that. So we're going to have 10 and 0 is going to be our first point. Then we're going to go to this score. 2 people scored less than 20. So 20, 2 people scored less than that. So if this is 10, 2 is also like really far down here. Okay, the next one, 30. 7 people scored less than 30. So 30 and my 7 is approximately here. 40, 14, so that would be about here. And then 50 is 35, that'd be about here. 60 is 71. 70 is 111. 80 is 138. 138 is going to be very close to 140. 90 is 147. And then 100 is our 150. Then we're going to connect it with a smooth curve. This is always a challenge for me. I'm going to do it slowly. I tend to wiggle a little in here. I'm going to try and keep it as smooth as I can. And I wanted to point out, I didn't talk about this in class, but I want to point out, see how gentle the slope is down here, and then it gets really steep? That's because that's where we have a lot of people getting those test scores. So the change, so if we were talking about like the derivative, the slope, the change in y over change in x is pretty small down here. We have a gentle slope, a small slope value, and then it increases, the slope increases, gets to be a very steep slope, and then it kind of slows down again. And we have few people up here and our slope tapers off. So we could even talk about like derivatives on here if we wanted to. All right, so percentiles. So let's go ahead and mark on here where are our different percentiles. So the median is the 50th percentile. So if there's 150 students and we divide that by 2, we get 75. So that means the 50th percentile is going to be between student number 75 and 76. So the median, which is also the 50th percentile, okay, the 50th percentile, is going to be between student number 75 and 76. So let's find that. So here's 70, 75, and 76. So it's going to be about here. So let me get my straight edge again. So it's going to be my median, or my 50th percentile is going to be about there. So that's my 50th percentile. 50th percentile, also known as the median. Okay, so 50% of the students are going to score below that, 50% are going to score above that. That's my median. So my median test score, if I take this down, remember we did this in class, my median test score is like 61. Okay, so we can read the value right off of here. So the median is between the 75th and 76th student. And the score is equal to like 61. So we can take this and we can go straight down to read off the x value. So if we take that down, read off the x value, that's about a score of 61. Okay, so our median score is 61. It's between the 75th and 76th student. Okay, well, if I wanted the 25th percentile, I would take half of that. So half of 75 would be 37 and a half. So 37 and a half, that would give us the 38th student. So the 38th student would be about here. Okay, so again, I can take this and go over to my graph and then go straight down. So that, again, that's around 50, 51 would be my 25th percentile score. And that's my 25th percentile. So this would be my 25th. I suppose I should do this, 25th percentile. This would be my 50th percentile. And then the 75th percentile, well, if we think about this, this is 37.5 or 38. 38 plus another, 37 plus 37 plus the one in between gives me 75. So then I need to go up another 37 from the 50th percentile to the 75th percentile. So if I take, what did we say that was? We said that was 75th, and if I add 37 to that, I'm going to get 112. So the 75th percentile is going to be at 112. Okay, so let's go ahead and put that on. So 112, let's see, this 110, 111, 112 is probably around here, so I can take that over. And then I can take that straight down. And that would be our 75th percentile. 75th percentile. Okay, so another way of getting these percentile, these breaks here, another way to think about this is that I've broken up the tests, the students, into 4 groups. There's the top 25%, and then the upper, this fourth would be 25%, 25%, 25%. So what I could do is I can take the 150 students, and I can divide that by 4. If I do 150 divided by 4, 150 divided by 4, I get 37.5. So if you think about all the students, so if we have 150 lined up here, and we want to divide this into 4, 37.5, that means the 38th student, so here's student, there's no students, 38th student is going to be 25% of it. So there's 37 here, and then 1 student, and then another 37, so 38 plus 37 gets me up to 75. So if we do 38 plus 37, I get to 75. So between the 75th and the 76th student is where we're going to have the median. It's going to be between the 75th and 76th student. And then we're going to add to that, so we have the upper 75 students. We're going to add another 37. So I have 76 plus 37. Or actually, I should do the 75 plus 37.5. That gets me the 113th. So 113th student will be at the Q3, and then the 150. Okay, so if I take my 150 and divide it into 37.5, it's going to be the 38th student. That's going to be the first quartile. Between the 75th and the 76th, it's going to be my Q2. So here's my Q1, here's my Q2, my Q3, and then my maximum. So here's my max, and here's my min. Okay, the top student and the lowest student. Okay, so 25th percentile, 50th percentile, 75th percentile. So you take all the students, break them up into 4 groups, and you can get your percentiles. Alrighty. And then from your graph, you can read off, well, what was the 25th percentile score? It was like 51. What was the 50th percentile score? It was about 61. What was the 75th percentile score? It was around 71. Okay, and that does it.